very warm welcome to Pension Matters, the pension awareness program where we teach you how to save against the rainy days, that is, saving for retirement, in accordance with the Pension Reform Act of June 2004 that was amended in year 2014. My name is Princess Rabi Ibrahim, and I'm so glad to have you join us on today's episode of the program. Today we'll be bringing something special, that is a package from National Pension Commission. For details of this and more, stay with us as the program will return shortly.
Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PenCom says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PenCom, your contribution counts.
Welcome back. The program is Pension Matters, and it is time for us to join Adanze Okorocha to tell us what is trailing in the pension industry. Adanze, is over to you.
Thank you very much, Princess. Hello, welcome to this segment. My name is Adanze Okorocha. On our story today, Trust Fund Pension cautions against late remittance. The Customer Relationship Manager, Mrs. Mahalonge of Trust Fund Pension Limited, said that the employers of labor are expected to remit all deducted pension funds to the pension fund administrators within 7 days. Mrs. Longe explained that late remittance of funds into the PFA's account by employers is against the provision of the Pension Reform Act of 2014. She also said remitting quarterly, biannually or annually is wrong according to the law guiding the contributory pension scheme, as late remittance leads to loss of income by retirees. While cautioning employers against late remittance, Mrs. Longe stated that Trust Fund Pension now notifies the National Pension Commission to report the non-compliance of sanctions. Lastly, on this segment, Legacy Pension enlightened students on the contributory pension scheme. Legacy Pension Managers Limited has stressed the need to enlighten students on the relevance of the contributory pension scheme. Mr. Adewale Fagberun, the zonal manager of the company in Lagos, said that the practical understanding of the contributory pension scheme is necessary to complete the students' knowledge on the pension industry. He explained the provisions of the Pension Reform Act of 2014 and the historical background of the CPS in Nigeria to the students. According to him, the knowledge of the scheme and the rules of the National Pension Commission, including the pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians, are essential to the students. Viewers, that's the much you can take on pension trade today. Over to Princess.
Thank you, Adanze, for telling us what is trailing in the pension industry for this week. Viewers, it's time for pension education. Don't go away.
Today on Pension Education, we'll be looking at the statutory functions of the National Pension Commission. Prior to the enactment of the Pension Reform Act 2004, pension schemes in Nigeria had been bedeviled by many problems. The public service operated an unfunded defined benefit scheme, while the private sector had in place the scheme, but many employees were not covered. This scenario necessitated a rethink of the pension administration in Nigeria. Accordingly, the administration initiated a pension reform in order to address and eliminate the problems associated with the pension schemes in the country. The outcome of the reform was the enactment into law of the Pension Reform Act 2004, which was later amended in 2014. The Act established the National Pension Commission (PenCom) as the body to regulate, supervise, and ensure the effective administration of pension matters in Nigeria. The Commission was saddled with responsibilities. In Section 23 and 24 of the Pension Reform Act, clearly that the Commission shall regulate and supervise the scheme established under this Act and other pension schemes in Nigeria. issue guidelines, rules and regulations for the investment and administration of pension funds, approve, license, regulate and supervise pension fund administrators, custodians and other institutions relating to pension matters as the Commission may, from time to time, determine. Establish standards, benchmarks, guidelines, procedures, rules and regulations for the management of the pension fund under this Act. Ensure the maintenance of a national data bank on pension matters. Carry out public awareness, enlightenment and education on the establishment, operations and management of the scheme. Promote capacity building and institutional strengthening of pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians. Receive, investigate and mitigate complaints of impropriety made against any pension fund administrator, custodian, employer, staff or agent. Promote and offer technical assistance in the application of the contributory pension scheme by the state and local government councils in accordance with the objectives of this Act, and perform such other duties which in the opinion of the Commission are necessary or expedient for the discharge of its functions under this Act. The Commission shall have the power to formulate, direct and oversee the overall policy on pension matters in Nigeria, fix the terms and conditions of service and remuneration of the employees of the Commission, request or call information from any employer or pension fund administrator or pension fund custodian or any other person or institution on matters relating to retirement benefits. Charge and collect such fees, levies, or penalties as may be necessary for the provision of services under this Act. Establish and acquire offices and other premises for the use of the Commission in such location as it may deem necessary for the proper performance of its functions under this Act. Investigate any pension fund administrator, pension fund custodian, or other party involved in the management of pension funds. Impose administrative or civil sanctions or fines on erring employers or pension fund administrators or pension fund custodians. Order the transfer of management or custody of all pension funds or assets being managed by pension fund administrator or held by pension fund custodian whose license has been revoked under this Act or subject to insolvency proceedings to another pension fund administrator or pension fund custodian as the case may be. Move pension funds and assets from one pension fund administrator or pension fund custodian to another when the Commission believes that the funds and assets are endangered. Appoint management committee in the resolution of failing pension operators. Accredit any person, body, corporate or institution that engages in any activity to pension matters in Nigeria pursuant to this Act. Request the Accountant General of the Federation to credit into the Federal Government Retirement Fund account Federal Government's obligation for the redemption of the retirement benefit bonds issued to its employees for their past service. Set up technical committees, working groups and task forces to assist the Commission in the performance of its duties and functions under this Act. Make changes to its structure with the approval of the Board and do such other things which, in its opinion, are necessary to ensure the efficient performance of the functions of the Commission under this Act. This is all we have for you on pension education today. Thanks for watching.
If you're just joining us, the program is Pension Matters, and it is now time for Issue of the Moment. On our Issue of the Moment today, we'll be bringing you the opening of PenCom stand at the 12th Abuja International Trade Fair. Pension Matters was there to bring you all the details. Enjoy it.
In a major reform in 2004, the federal government of Nigeria overhauled the legal framework for pensions in the country. As enclosed in the Pension Reform Act 2004, which was amended in 2014, the reform saw the creation of the National Pension Commission, PenCom, as the regulator of the new Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS, and specified the operational guidelines and market structure for the emergent pension industry. The implementation of the reform has resulted in major successes which stakeholders in the pension industry have continued to celebrate. One of the headline successes of the Contributory Pension Scheme is the growth of the Nigerian pension assets from a deficit of 2 trillion naira in 2003 to a total pension fund assets of 6.4 trillion naira as at the end of April 2017. With the immediate transformation of the pension industry, stakeholders are excited about the prospects that could be achieved in the years and decades ahead. But despite these achievements, pension reforms in Nigeria have focused mainly on the public and formal private sectors, with limited or no participation from workers in the informal sector, which represent a large percentage of the country's workforce, leaving a huge gap in the fabric of the economy. Therefore, the need for financial inclusion. Recognizing the need to provide pension products to the informal sector to increase financial inclusion, the National Pension Commission created the micro-pension scheme to cover those in the informal sector. As one of the key issues handled in the 2016 World Pension Summit Africa Special, micro-pension and financial services were identified as one of the products that will enhance the objective of reducing financial exclusion in the country. In line with this, the Pension Reform Act 2014, Section 2, subsections 1 to 3, made provisions for the inclusion of the informal sector in the contributory pension scheme. It states, 1. The provisions of this Act shall apply to any employment in the public service of the Federation, the public service of the Federal Capital Territory, the public services of the states, the public service of the local government and the private sector. 2. In the case of the private sector, the scheme shall apply to employees who are in the employment of an organization in which there are 15 or more employees. 3. Notwithstanding the provision of subsection 2 of this section, employees of organizations with less than 3 employees as well as self-employed persons shall be entitled to participate under the scheme in accordance with guidelines issued by the Commission. In implementing this initiative, the informal sector has been segmented into 3 broad categories: the low-income earners, the high-income earners, and the SMEs. Each of these categories is going to be targeted with appropriate pension products and sensitization programs that meet their peculiarities. To this end, the National Pension Commission (PenCom) opened a stand at the 12th Abuja International Trade Fair to enlighten artisans, traders, and other categories of self-employed persons in a bid to enable the informal sector participate in the contributory pension scheme. The opening ceremony was conducted by Mr. Muhammad Sani Muhammad, Secretary and Legal Advisor PenCom, who spoke on the benefits of the micro-pension scheme to the masses, especially those in the informal sector.
PenCom, as usual, is coming to the masses to showcase what we have in store for the masses regarding the retirement benefits and administration of pensions in Nigeria. And we are also trying as much as possible to begin to explain to the masses that pensions is no longer an elite product. It is also available to the ordinary person. And we have the micro pension scheme, which we will soon roll out. It is something that I believe and I am confident Nigerians will benefit and will really thank this administration for ensuring that the Nigerians at all levels benefit from the retirement savings scheme that is being available in Nigeria today.
After the opening of the stand, Mr. Mohammed, along with other PenCom officials, took a tour to inspect each section of the stand. He emphasized on the need to put in place a multilingual staff to attend to people who inquire about the micro-pension.
It doesn't have to be in English language. Whoever comes and asks questions in all the languages, major languages we can, including Pidgin English.
Mr. Mohammed highlighted the need for the National Pension Commission, PenCom, to make itself available to entertain inquiries from existing and incoming contributors, using the trade fair as a focal point to provide the populace with accurate information and resolve pending issues regarding the contributory scheme.
National Pension Commission, as you know, is the regulator and supervisor of pension matters in Nigeria, and we try as much as possible to discharge our statutory mandate by ensuring that we make ourselves available And one of such ways is not just to sit in the office, but wherever there is an opportunity for us to make ourselves available to attend to questions from contributors, either existing contributors or potential contributors, we do so. And pension issues in Nigeria is one that is bedeviled by a lot of either misinformation, disinformation, and misunderstanding. And we believe that we have to change this narrative, and this includes making ourselves available so that questions and all misconceptions could be cleared, and every person that has an issue with the pension administration in Nigeria, whether under the contributory pension scheme or the defined benefit scheme, PenCom is there for that person to lodge his complaint, try to understand what are the issues, and then if there are issues, we will take it up. It is our duty to resolve the issues. And we believe that by coming to the Tradefair stand, we will not only make ourselves available and make it visible that the Commission is available there for every Nigerian, we will also make ourselves available to answer and resolve issues promptly and on the go.
Pension Matters caught up with some of the traders at the trade fair who said they have been waiting for this opportunity, acknowledging that they will participate as soon as the scheme kicks off.
I've been praying that I should come down to the level of people who are in this entrepreneurship, this thing, so that they will be able to save their things. But I never knew the opportunity will come down to us. I thought it's only for government employees only. Very interested in it. It's something I've been so eager. I've been just like praying that I should come down to our level so that we'll take active participation in it. So since we have the privilege, I think it's a better opportunity for us to take advantage of it. I won't let it pass me by.
This micro pension where government want to introduce, so where I believe we will be artisans like this fit key into the plan of the government to help us save our old age. But if they get more the way they go take explain the micro pension, educate us more about the micro pension. I believe if the thing they favorable enough for us, we be artisans, and all those things, then we'll fit key into the project.
Looking at this, our economy now, everybody has to start from somewhere now, but that can easily help you in the future. Yeah. If it's something that will help us in the future, there's no big deal keying into it. People like us in the market here, some of us, they didn't know about it. So if they can push more to create the awareness for us to know the benefit of this pension stuff, I think it will help.
In order to know and understand how the micro pension scheme works, there is a need for public enlightenment. The head of corporate communication, PenCom, Mr. Peter Agawa, reiterated the efforts of the Commission to create awareness for bringing the informal sector into the contributory pension scheme.
This is a very good occasion for us to showcase to the world what we are doing towards the informal sector, incorporating the informal sector. So we are hoping that many people, that are self-employed will also visit our stand to get to know more about the informal sector scheme, which we have captioned the micro pension scheme. So we look forward to using this, trade fair to actually reach out and, further enlighten people about the scheme we have right now.
Speaking on micro pension as a tool for financial inclusion, Mr. Kunle Odebi, head of micro pension department, PenCom, explained the need for people in the informal sector to be part of the micro pension scheme so as to cater for themselves in their old age.
The whole idea is to get the informal sector involved in pension. They need to see what is in need for them in pension and take care of their old age. When they get old, they have to be on pension so that they don't have to depend on their kids or other. So that's the whole idea about the micro pension.
He also spoke on the process and preparation towards the implementation of the micro-pension scheme.
We are in the process of sending out our guideline to stakeholders. The stakeholders, after reviewing that, will expose it to other stakeholders, other people that will also key into it. Then the implementation will start.
One of the PenCom strategic objectives is to reach out to the informal sector. The head of investment and supervision, Mr. Ehimeme Uhioma, spoke on the PenCom participation in the ongoing trade fair.
Our participation at this trade fair is one of our strategies to bring in the informal sector. One would say the informal sector, the self-employed. This place is booming with individuals, traders, people that provide services, to generality of the public. So we think being part of this fair is a good step to make people to be aware of the functions of and benefits of individuals participating in the contributory pension scheme through the informal sector.
He also commented on the need to have a proper structure in place to ensure solid implementation of the micro pension scheme.
We don't just want to get in without making sure we have the right structures in place. We want to be very ready, and so we intend that definitely by the first quarter or second quarter of 2018 the Commission will be ready to roll out its micro pension scheme. And so between now and then we're doing the necessary engagements with the relevant stakeholders in the Nigerian financial sector as well as the public, to ensure that we get their buy-in and they really understand the benefits that will accrue to them for them to plan for their old age. So we're almost set. The structures are almost in place, and we believe once we roll out, we're going to come out with a bang, and it will be for the benefit of the Nigerian public.
The National Pension Commission, PenCom, at the 12th Abuja International Trade Fair was specifically organized to create awareness on its proposed micro-pension scheme, which will soon be officially launched. As many look forward to the grand opening of the scheme, the Commission is positive that taking steps as this will not only pose a better and brighter future for retirees, but build a better economy for the country. Do you know there is a new pension scheme in Nigeria? It is mandatory, it is contributory, it is fully funded, based on individual retirement savings account. Under the supervision of the National Pensions Commission, the new pension scheme guarantees lifelong financial independence for every citizen of Nigeria in public or private employment. PenCom says it's a new dawn. Call the National Pensions Commission now or log on to www.pencom.gov.ng for further details. PenCom, your contribution counts.
Hope you enjoyed our offering today. That is the opening of the PenCom stand at 12th Abuja International Trade Fair. Viewers, on that note, we've come to the end of our program today. There's a package of pension matters for this week. We do hope you join us next week for another educative, informative, and exciting episode of Pension Matters. Until then, I remain Precious Rabi Ibrahim, and I say, God bless you.